fairy prince and princess, animals that are people enchanted. Where can they be? Witches on their broomsticks way up high they sail. Over big bad wolves on each hill and dale in a fairy tale. Fly away to magic lands of fantasy. Sail to those enchanted lands across the sea. There's a land that's far away where folks live happy ever after in a fairy tale.
From the Brothers Grimm, the tale of Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, at the edge of a great forest, there stood a cabin that belonged to a poor woodcutter. He lived with his two children, a boy and a girl whom he dearly loved, and with the children's stepmother, who had no love for the children at all. One night, the boy, Hansel, tried to awaken his sister Gretel. He could overhear his father saying that there was not enough food for them all to eat.
What's to become of us? We had little enough to eat before. Now, with this famine in our land, how are we going to feed the children? We no longer have enough for ourselves.
Listen to me. Tomorrow we will take both the children into the wildest part of the forest and give each a bit of bread. Then we will return home and leave them there for good.
The poor woodcutter had no choice. Early the next morning, Hansel stole out to the clearing, which was dotted with many shiny pebbles, and began stuffing them into his pockets.
Hansel?
Yes?
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Wake up your lazy sister. We're going to fetch firewood.
Soon they all set out together into the forest. As they walked, Hansel secretly dropped one shiny pebble after another along the path. Later, as the sound of the woodcutter's axe echoed through the middle of the forest, Hansel and Gretel played happily. They had eaten their little bit of bread and now were alone, except for a curious rabbit who'd never seen children before. The children didn't know they were alone. They thought their father was nearby chopping wood. That sound, though, was not an axe, but only a branch the woodcutter had tied to a dead tree. All day long, the wind blew it to and fro. When night came, Gretel grew frightened and began to cry. She wondered how they'd ever get out of the forest. Hansel comforted her.
Don't cry, Gretel. When the moon comes out, we'll find our way back home.
Later, when the moon had risen, silvery moonbeams danced upon the shiny pebbles that Hansel had dropped along the way. The pebbles glistened like newly minted silver coins. Hansel took his little sister by the hand and followed the pebbles that pointed the way. Soon they were out of the forest and racing along a familiar ledge that led to home. The children's father, who had worried about them from the start, was the first to hear them coming.
Hansel, Gretel!
Father!
All were happy, except the woodcutter's wife. She was determined to get rid of the children. Early the next morning, she awakened them, but gave Hansel no time to go out and gather pebbles. She said they were leaving immediately for a picnic in the woods. Her plan was to take the children even deeper into the forest, then leave them there. Having no pebbles, Hansel broke little bits of bread from the small piece he had received and dropped them along the path, unaware that birds were following close behind, eating the crumbs. That night, Hansel and Gretel found themselves alone in a strange part of the forest. The woodcutter and his wife had left. Once again, the children waited for the moon to rise, thinking that they would be able to see the breadcrumbs Hansel had dropped.
The breadcrumbs I had to show the path are gone. We'll never be able to find our way home. Don't cry. We'll find our way back home, Gretel. You'll see.
But they couldn't find it.
Hansel! A snake! No, just a branch.
All night long and into the next day they walked. Then, when they thought they could scarcely take another step...
Is that a house? Let's go and see.
It was a house such as they had never seen. It was made of cake. The walls and roof were covered with whipped cream and candy. The door was made of spun sugar. Lemonade leaped from a fountain. Hansel and Gretel were so hungry that Hansel broke off a bit of the roof to eat, while Gretel plucked a giant lollipop.
Is that a mouse who eats my house?
We're awfully sorry. We didn't mean to eat your house, but we're so hungry.
Oh, poor dears, all alone in the forest. Please, come eat with me.
Why, thank you. We'd love to. You're very kind.
But the old woman was only pretending to be kind. Her red eyes showed that she was really a wicked witch who lay in wait for children.
They're all alike. They can't resist this house. In the morning, I'll toss the boy into the cage and start fattening him up. He'll make a tasty morsel.
Now Hansel knew the old woman was really a witch, but it was too late. Gretel was put to work and ordered to do whatever was necessary to fatten up her brother.
Fetch more water and cook up something to make Hansel fat.
Gretel wept silent tears in vain. She had to do as the witch ordered. Each morning, the witch came to check on Hansel.
Stick out your finger so I can feel if you'll soon be fat.
But instead, the clever boy stuck out a bone, knowing the witch was nearsighted.
I simply can't understand it. You're still as skinny as a bone.
After 4 weeks of this, the witch's patience was exhausted.
I won't wait another day. Gretel, make a fire. We're going to bake.
Gretel started a fire in the oven, tears spilling down her cheeks, for she knew the witch was planning not to bake bread, but her brother and her.
Crawl inside and see if it's hot enough to bake bread.
But I don't know how to crawl inside.
Stupid goose! The opening is big enough. Why, it's big enough for me to get in there. Look. See?
Gretel saw very well. This is exactly what she had planned.
Oh, dreadful child, what have you done? I'm melting!
Hansel, Gretel, hurry!
Quick as they could, the children ran from the witch's cottage toward the warm sunshine. Soon they reached a wide stream with no bridge across it. But a helpful swan told them that if they would climb on his back, he would take them where they wanted to go. In time, Hansel and Gretel found themselves on the familiar ledge near their house. Imagine how happy they were after weeks away to be home.
Father! We're back, Father.
The poor woodcutter had not spent a happy moment since leaving the children in the forest.
Your stepmother died last week, children. We three will never be separated again.
It was good to be together again. Hansel and Gretel remained by their father's side forever after. Their days were filled with laughter, and laughter made their simple house more magic than a house made of cake.